Our guest on Just Talking is Jesse Alks. He's going to be here to discuss his award-winning film, Pariah Dog. So, Jesse, how's it going, my friend?
It's going well. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. And I love how we always get so lucky, Marissa, to be interviewing people from all over the globe. And you're in Alaska right now, Jesse?
I'm in Alaska, yeah.
That's insane.
Is it cold there right now? Like, how cold is it?
I mean, not inside. It's fine.
I know. It's supposed to be fall, and it still feels like we're roasting ourselves out here in SoCal.
We had a fake fall last week. We are back in summer, 100 degrees. I am fantless once again.
I had to make sure I wasn't dreaming. I saw frost on the roof like for the very first time last week. Now it's gone. But, hey, we're here during Just Talking because we're going to be talking about your award-winning film that you deserve all the praise for. And before we even begin, because we are a video on air production, might as well play the trailer for Pariah Dog. So let's show the viewing audience what you can expect in Jesse's film. Shot right there. It's never easy to see. But, you know, for the listening audience who has no idea what Pariah Dog is all about, can you explain the premise of your new film? Yeah,
it's Pariah Dogs is there's uncounted numbers of street dogs in India. It's not really gotten into in the film, but they're native dogs that have been there for tens of thousands of years and have always been sort of semi-domesticated. They're the closest thing to the original domesticated dog we have. And they've always kind of lived this symbiotic relationship with humans. And the film is about 4 people in Calcutta, India, who take care of these stray dogs to try to sort of find meaning in their lives. Maybe, and they're all kind of people that are having some kind of struggles with that. So also outsiders themselves.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, Jesse. And from first glance, I feel like I have a bad case of Lulu Wang because I was kind of judging you by your appearance because I go, when I look at you, you don't resonate as someone who would tell a story of Pariah Dog in India. So was this like a passion project, or did you get lucky and have a studio go, hey, look, we have an opportunity for you to go fly halfway across the globe, and you just took that opportunity, or was this something that you've been passionate about for a long time?
No, I mean, if someone wants to fly me around the globe, I'm all for that. That has never happened. But no, I'd been going to Calcutta for another reason for about 5 years before I made the film, and I just wanted to do it. It was a total passion project, and I put all my own money into it, and I spent 5 years making the film. I moved to Calcutta. I stayed there for the better part of 4 or 5 years, depending on how you count it. Worked with all local people making it, lived with the family there, went by myself. So it was like that. So thanks for not Lulu Wanging me. Appreciate that.
I mean, you must have been like how Chino Marino used to describe it with Deftones. You must have been like the white pony in India. I mean, you must have been stuck out there like for 5. Oh. How long were you out there for? At least 5, or did you? It
depending how you counted it. Like it was kind of 3 straight, and then I came back. I edited the film there, which allowed me to have people like my collaborators sort of give me input on the edit, which is super helpful. Then I just went back and spent another 4 or 5 months there. I was there up until the pandemic hit. So it's kind of 5 years on and off. I've been going back and forth.
And I have to tell listeners, when you go to watch this, please turn the little words at the bottom, turn them on. What is this called? I can't remember right now.
The caption.
Subtitles. The words that come across. And you have to turn those on because I started watching the film and I was like, man, I wish I knew what they were saying because it's in English, right? And then I was like, why don't I turn the subtitles on? And so I did, and I had to rewatch it. But it drives
me crazy that they're not on by default, but
Yeah.
What can you say? This is the way.
Don't pull a Marissa.
Is that an Amazon move that slipped on that notion? Oh, wow.
Believe me, we've had a lot of discussions with Amazon about the subtitles.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they are there. They're as good as we can get them with Amazon, and you have to enable.
so
no, you have to enable it, because I'm here.
Yes.
I love so much about this film is you were following people as they were kind of taking care of these dogs. So I saw a lot of dogs, but I also saw parts of real Indians' lives who aren't just what I see on television, but people going through the day-to-day grind who aren't rich, who are just trying to take care of these animals, and listening to their conversations, to their friends and so on. I was like breaking my heart the whole movie.
Yeah, especially, and there was a particular line in the film that kind of stuck with me, and there was a line, it was at the dog show, kind of a little spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, but the individual said, the cruelty of human beings is increasing day by day. Try to retain some love. Love is decreasing in human beings day by day. We can't stop feeding the cats and dogs. They have no guardian. So, when I was thinking about that, I kept thinking about the film is to me, has a bigger picture than just following the pariah dog. It's really kind of showing the mass population of poverty that you see within humans and animals. And was that kind of something that you were trying to get across in your film, Jesse?
I'll tell you, poverty wasn't really a focus for me. I think if I went there to make a film about poverty, which many foreign filmmakers do, it's kind of a cliche. I would have shot a different film. I think that what you are getting at there that I was trying to sort of reach is that the people that we all cast, including Shibrota made that speech, are all people who sort of are looking at the world in general and not able to accept cruelty and indifference and suffering just on a very personal level. Yeah. So I think that's sort of really what it's about for me. And I think that the people in the film are struggling. They're not at the bottom of the scale for the most part.
Okay.
But they're all sort of dealing with that crisis of why isn't the world a kinder place?
Well, couldn't you put it in the same notion of let's say I'll speak of Los Angeles because I'm in here in SoCal. It's I always make that, well, it's kind of a sad joke. It's we don't put any investment into the homelessness because there's no money in return out of it. It's just why care for the pariah dogs when you're not going to get anything out of it? You're shaking your head. How do you feel, Jesse?
Yeah, well, there's two things there, right? First of all, India has a lot of problems. So for a lot of people, there are people that really need help in India, and they don't see the value of putting a lot of attention into this stray dog issue or making sure their lives are better. On the second part, the homelessness in LA, just for FYI, if you, when Indians travel to the United States, they are absolutely shocked to see that. Because that's
really?
That is.
I would be shocked. I would think so too.
That's not what they think the United States is like. And if you take an Indian to Skid Row in LA, they will not believe that this is happening in the United States.
Wow. I wouldn't know. I didn't even think about that they assume that everybody has housing in America because we are a first world country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you're thinking about the entertainment capital of the world as well, too. And I'm sure when you're not from the United States and you just hear about LA, you just think about Shaquille O'Neal, think about Kobe Bryant, the LA Lakers, everything's happy. But, that's kind of a fascinating aspect. And what I was kind of peculiar about was yourself, Jesse. I mean, did you have to learn Hindi before you even went to India? Or, how did you even know you got the right talking points for your film if you didn't speak that language?
It was difficult. They speak Bengali in that part of India.
Okay.
And I did study the language. I'm terrible with languages. So I studied for some months. I learned to read the script. And I picked up some conversational Bengali, but I had my sound recordist who was with me on the film. I shot the film with 3 people, myself, a sound recordist, and an assistant camera guy. And my sound recordist, who became sort of a collaborator, assistant director, co-writer, he was also functioning as translator. So we would get sort of on the set rough translations and sort of meet together what's going on here in this scene. And then I got full transcripts later. The problem was we were dealing with such a small budget, and the transcripts were coming back very late. And sometimes I didn't know specifically what was specifically said in the scene for months.
Until you watched it on Amazon Prime with subtitles.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta make sure it's enabled.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, because I was kind of fascinated by that, because I know that, you would think, if you're learning and investing your time into that language, I'm sure that there's some cultural things in India that you're probably missing right now because you're in Alaska, and I can only imagine. Is there Indian food that you're missing out there that you're just craving for?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I was not really big on Bengali food. It's very, very different than what we know as
What is
Indian
it, like
food.
water and noodles? I mean, is that what it is?
No, in Eastern India, they eat a lot of fish. They eat a lot of stuff with mustard sauce, and they eat rice. So those are sort of the staples there, and it's completely different than what we would think of. Like people here, they know.
Yeah,
like,
is it raw fish? Is it raw fish? Because I feel like Big Sean. Like I couldn't do all that. Like I don't like the texture and all that kind of stuff. Like nah.
No, people there have not. And there's like sushi places are starting to open up there, and people are very freaked out by it for the most part.
Because of the
raw fish.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
just raw fish. There, that's not part of the culture there. So
yeah.
So,
that's interesting.
Is it like, is the food there spicy? Because I know that when I went so I had Indian food in America. It's good. I went to England, and their Indian food is so much better and spicier. And I was like in love with it. So what about an India food? Like real India
it's
food?
like 10 times the spice.
Oh my God.
I mean, and not just heat, but just spice in general. There's just like oil and spice and anything like flavor. It's really intense. And so yeah, we get a sort of watered down version. And I realized when I came back here, I went to an Indian restaurant, and the guy there, after I ate, the waiter who was Indian asked me, I had told him I'd been in India, and he said, well, what did you think? I said, he said, bland, right? I said, yeah. He says, you have to order it Indian style, and then we'll give you the real spice.
Yeah, it's like a secret. It's like you're going to In-N-Out and you're going, I want the Flying Dutchman. You go, what does that even mean? Yeah. It's not a secret menu. But, I think it's really cool that you've had that opportunity to travel around the world. And kind of what I was hearing previously when you just jumped on to Just Talking is like, you'll take any opportunity just to travel. And every single time when I was growing up, especially all through college, I kept getting pressured like, Chris, you got to go and travel while you're young. And I think, Jesse, I feel like you're speaking to that notion. Do you think it's important for the youth to travel while they're young? Because there's going to be a time where we're going to be out of this pandemic. And what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I wish that I did more of it. I mean, I traveled some when I was younger, but, if I would say this is a super privilege to be able to travel around the world.
Right.
Like most people in the world can't do this. Yeah. We always have to be sort of aware of that, but like the fact that I was able sort of through luck and circumstance to go and especially live in another country like this, that was so different, it's very eye-opening. So if there's like exchange programs you can do, if there's anything like that when this opens up, I would encourage everybody to do it, because one thing that it definitely changed for me, even going much later, I didn't visit India till I was in my 30s. It gave me a different perspective on USA, and on what we do and what's normal and what's not. So,
well, you had put in your on your Facebook, as I stalk you, you had talked the little puppy we saw in the clip with the leg, the little tiny puppy. You had mentioned how you had actually taken it after the shooting and then put it and try to get it help. Can you tell me about that, like that experience on there? Because I would think that would be like the right thing to do, but you had like another different, what can I say, experience trying to save, as a Westerner, trying to save this little puppy.
Yeah, it was early on in the shoot, and it was a big learning experience for me, because I saw that puppy, and I was leaving. I was a scouting trip, so I had a hard time. I had to leave, and I took the puppy as I was leaving to a shelter. And in the end, I realized, first of all, it was probably not the best place to take it in general. Second of all, once I got there and I sort of had driven all this way and brought in this money and they told me the puppy's going to die here quickly from disease. And we don't generally leave them,
Oh my God.
And so what I felt like I took away from that was like, I was coming in as a Westerner and I was trying to insert myself and like fix this situation. And I mean, yeah, that dog was in a terrible spot. If I could have taken it or found someone to take it, that would have been much better. But at that point, I was not fully embedded there. And so I kind of realized, like a lot of times as Westerners, we'll go to countries that might have different challenges than we're used to. Right. And we'll sort of want it just to be like, oh, let's just like fix this all so that I can feel better about it.
Right.
And
you got that.
Well, you had said that the locals were actually taking care of the puppy.
They were. I mean, there was people there that were feeding it. I saw people like they would put food down and they would throw rocks at other dogs so the puppy could eat. It was in a terrible spot, but I mean, and I did ask them before I took the puppy, but I'm not sure, was that the right thing to do?
Well, I feel like we all kind of have that same compassion and love for animals. I mean, you hear it right in the beginning of your film that there was a certain individual that had a huge dream of saving up his money so he can buy a mansion just so he can have dogs. And I think he said cats too, just running around. Well, I mean, I've always dreamed of that. But the thing is, it's kind of the sad truth is that's not really a reality that can ever happen. And what are some of your advices that you've learned in India that maybe we can obtain here in America that we can do on a short-term level of helping these animals who are lost or don't have a home, or even rescue dogs on a level?
Well, if anyone wants to get involved with the issues in India, there are great organizations on our website, pariahdog.com. There's a links page. We have a lot of good information or organizations that we've dealt with there that help. But other than that, it's difficult to say. Like, if you tell Indians that we put to death so many, like at one point it was 2 million dogs a year in the United States. That's another thing that horrifies them, because the idea that we're sort of continuously killing dogs because we don't want dogs on the street is unbelievable to them. So Indians would only prefer that you take them down when they are badly diseased, or let's say they broke 2 legs. I mean, would they just let a dog walk around? I mean, that one clip that we showed in the teaser, the 2 back legs of the dog was completely shot out. Yeah. I mean, you would see in America, if that happened, most of the time you would have someone put it down. Yeah, I've seen a lot of dogs. It's very difficult to say because, at one point in the film, in an earlier cut, I had also footage of a dog with that same injury that had lived to adulthood and was cruising around the city like that, balancing himself on his front 2 legs. So it seems like America, we just look at it and we go, that's a sore eye. I don't want to look at a cripple.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of it. While India, it's kind of, they want to take it in. Look, this is another thing that I think that, like, living abroad in countries that are very different than ours, we realize something about America too, which is that, like, if you're staying in a place like this, we intentionally shelter ourselves from a lot of harsh realities, including like the most visceral thing for me living over there was our food, where when I explained it, if you go to buy a chicken in India, you pick out a live chicken, they cut its head off, and they pluck it, and you take it home, and you eat hell no.
I would be vegetarian.
And then us in the U.S. go, that's cruelty. That's how you get. I want it perfectly shipped. I want it to look beautiful when I walk into Stater Brothers. I don't want to see the live chicken with there's feather on it.
And I tell the people there as a joke, because it always gets people like so crazy. I said, well, we just like to we go to the store and there's like a plastic package with legs, and we don't really think, oh, that's from an animal. Those are just, they're drumsticks.
Yeah, right. Well, Jesse, I just want to say congrats on your award-winning film. You did a fabulous job on Pariah Dog. And for the listening audience that's tuning on in, where can they watch your film?
So you can watch the film on Amazon Prime Rentals and Apple TV/iTunes, and there are links to both of those on our website, www.pariahdogmovie.com.
That's what I'm talking about, Jesse. Thank you again for joining Just Talking on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show.